Earlier this month, we introduced you to Dr. Kaiser, a Detroit area plastic surgeon who serves patients all across the state. Today, he's back with us to talk about different procedures he offers using fat that's already in our bodies. Okay, you've got my ears perked up for this one. First of all, you're board certified. Important piece of information for people to know about plastic surgeons, and you have the cutting edge technology. You use a lot of different specialized techniques to make sure that this is super healthy for people, including the fat. Yeah. So let's talk about it. How does that work?
Fat is an opportunity to restore volume. The aging face, for example, sees changes as we age, such as wrinkles, skin laxity, irregularities, and we've approached these through different mechanisms, and Botox and fillers are just flourishing right now because they're effective, they're quick, we can do it in the office, they're relatively inexpensive, and they certainly have a great place for patients desiring to achieve a more youthful appearance. Fillers, however, have limitations because they generally are temporary. And in most circumstances, that's acceptable because of the trade-offs that we have. If we have a patient, for example, who says, hey, you know what, I really like the filler effect. What can I do to give me a long-lasting effect that's the most natural I can achieve? Fat then becomes an opportunity to say, this is a possible option for you. Fat's yours. It, in many cases, is readily available. Right. And the downside, of course, is how can we make fat last a long time? And this has been the struggle that we've had. We've always known that fat is good, but we've learned more and more about fat and how to treat it, how to process it, how to introduce it. Because it's a living tissue, it needs a blood supply. If it doesn't live, it dwindles away, it can get lumpy, it can get hard. So these are some of the things that we want to avoid.
Now, is fat in one part of your body the same as all the fat? Is it the same exact thing? Like my fat here, maybe the same as my fat up here? Or is it a little different?
I think there are, for all intents and purposes, similarities that are more closely related than differences.
And that's why you can do that. Okay, so what would be the process like for someone? They would come and visit you, and then what's that process?
I would sit and have a consult with them and discuss what their needs are and really try to review what it is that they're really concerned about, because it's not just one thing. In many circumstances, patients have multiple areas that need to be addressed. So if it's wrinkles, fat may not necessarily be what they need. They might need skin resurfacing, laser resurfacing. They might have some facial laxity that requires some surgical management. They might have fat in their eyes that requires eyelid procedures. But also, if, for example, they also have hollowing to the cheeks or the nasolabial folds, or maybe they want lip augmentation, then we have an opportunity to use fat as a filler to achieve what, in my experience, has been a very successful outcome in my patient base.
And it's all part of that process. I mean, your practice, you like to build a relationship with the people who become your patients. Why is that so important?
First of all, I just think it's the right thing to do. In most cases, patients are entering this foray for the first time in their lives. They're anxious. They don't know what to expect. The first thing we can do is just sit down and talk and get to know each other. And then we can start going into what it is that we're really here for. And they're going to be here. It's not that we're doing this procedure and they're off on their merry way. If they choose to do that, then that sometimes happens. But many patients do come back. They want to have a relationship with you because despite the fact that most patients are content to have one procedure, there are a number of patients who decide that maybe down the line there's something else that they may want. We see this a lot with body contouring procedures, where they might feel comfortable in just kind of getting their feet wet with doing, let's say, a tummy tuck. And then they realize, okay, let's talk about other things.
Let's do some other stuff. And it's really exciting to have you on board here at 8West, because over the next several weeks and months we're going to be talking about those different areas that we can explore for men and women about how to make ourselves look as good as possible, as long as possible. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
We will be right back.
That's West.